So we are going through the Patrul Rinpoche's instructions on the practice of view, meditation and action. A discourse virtuous in the beginning, middle and end. And so as I said, it begins with quite a long, quite a few stanzas on the a little bit you can say words on the renunciation of the samsara. So I think we went through the 10th stanza. So I go through the rest of them as quickly as possible. Because I don't want Patrul Rinpoche sound like a, what do you call it? Message? Who hates human beings? Misanthrope. Being learned these days doesn't help the teachings. It just leads to more debate. Being realized these days doesn't help others. It just leads to more criticism. Being in a responsible position these days doesn't help govern the country well. It only spreads revolt. Think about these times with sorrow and disgust. Though you explain, people miss the point or don't believe you. Though your motivation is truly altruistic, people think it is not. These days, when the crooked see the straight as crooked, you can't help anyone. Give up any hope of that. Well, I think his main purpose was to bring this person to his retreat or into a retreat. But I think it is also there is some kind of a truth in that also. Sometimes, I think I talked about this yesterday also, but I think it's very important, really. I see that many of the problems coming from expecting too much. Also, that I want to help too much. There are lots of people like therapists, many of these kinds of people who help people get burnt out very easily. And that's because, they really want to help. It's a very good intention, they want to help. And they want to help a lot. They wish that then every patient they have is completely completely transformed and completely healed. And then they try a lot, but there's a limitation. You can do your best, but sometimes it helps, sometimes it doesn't help, sometimes help a little bit, sometimes not at all. So if you have this idea that I will be able to completely help and transform everything, then you're bound to get burnt out, because it can't happen like that. There's a story about Penur, which I don't know whether you know him or not. He's a Nyingma Lama, a great Nyingma Lama. He also became the head of the Nyingma school for a long time. He built a monastery in the south of India. And the Tibetans are like that, actually. He had only, I think, 10 monks to begin with. And he built a monastery which could accommodate 500 monks. And he had no money. So there was only a little bit of a wall and no roof. And 10 monks in the little corner. And everybody was laughing at him and saying, you must be mad. Why we are going to build such a big monastery for just 10 monks? And he said, well, let us see, and then, when he finished the monastery, it was too small. It was too small. So they had to take down the whole monastery and rebuild again to accommodate about 1,000 monks. And it is still too small. And then he started this, monastery, and then Sheda, and lots of temples, and everybody, So he was, really, really good, thriving monastery. And then somebody asked him, you think that there will be lots of good monks, really people who can help, lots of beings will come out of your monastery? He said, well, no, actually, if one good Lama comes out of this, I will be very happy. So, I think if more comes, that's very good. It doesn't mean that only one or two can come out. The more, very good. But when if you have that kind of outlook, then, if 5 people come out of this 1,000 monks who are really good, you will be very happy, you know. Oh, yes, you know, I thought only one would come out, but now 5 people come out. It was so good, you know. But if you thought, you know, about this 1,500 people, then you get totally disappointed if even 30 people come out. You know, so this applies to, I think, everything, in every walk of life, in everything, that we need to see, you know, there's lots of everything has lots of good side, but also the other side, obstacles, and you know. So therefore, it's not realistic to expect too much from other people. So therefore, I think it is sometimes it makes when you understand this, when you kind of have this kind of little bit seeing, then in one way you are kind of maybe disappointed, or you know, you can be sad, or you know, people may not appreciate too much good things. People may not return positive things, even if you do good things, and things like that. But when I have that outlook, then, you know, I would like to help people. And I know that if I want to help, I will do something to help. They will not necessarily, they will not thank me, but even may criticize me. When I know that, and when I am, you know, clear about that, then when I help, and if somebody is a little bit happy or grateful, I'll be happy. There's this, I like this Chinese saying, you know, about the, what do you call it? What do you call it if you give something without payment? Credit. You know, I give you credit, you don't pay, I go crazy. I don't give you credit, I give you no credit, you go mad, better you go mad. You know? You remember? So if I give credit, I'm talking about myself. If I give credit to somebody, if I loan anything to somebody, I only loan if I am ready that what I loan is never returned. Then only I loan. Yeah? I think one should do like that. You should do that same thing. Then there's no problem. You know, if he doesn't return, no problem, because I already gave up. If I give a loan, expecting that he will return, and on top of that, many thank yous and maybe interest, then I'm kind of in for trouble, you know. So I'm for disappointment. So you know, sometimes it is good to understand this. But you know, this is sometimes people say that you need to trust people. You need to be optimistic. Yeah, we talked about this yesterday also. But you can trust, but you have to know the situation clearly also. You can't just trust, no. All phenomena are like magical illusions, said the Buddhas. But these days the illusions are more illusory than ever. Trickeries conjured up by devious illusionists, beware of the illusions of these degenerate age's ways. So everybody is trying to sell us something. They want us to consume and consume and consume and consume and feel that we are making lots of nice contribution to the economy of the country. Maybe we are, I don't know. All talks is like an echo, said the Buddha. But these days it's more like the re-echo of an echo. What the echoes say and what they mean are not the same. So don't take any notice of these insidious echo words. Recently somebody told me that their mother used to say that don't believe anything that you hear, and believe only half of what you see. Sometimes it is a little bit like that also. So whoever you see isn't human, but a fraud. Whatever people say isn't right, but just lies. So since these days there is no one you can trust, you would better live alone and stay free. It doesn't mean that, to be able to live together with people, to be able to live harmoniously with people, to be able to work with people, you have to have a completely, I think like this. You don't have to have a kind of, what can you say, complete trust in them. In trust in saying like, they're all good, they're all, perfect, they're all, always wonderful. I don't have to have that, I think. I have to know, the weaknesses of people. And then I have to accept that weakness. And then only I can live harmoniously with that people, with that person. No? Otherwise, how can I, if I think that's the problem sometimes with the falling in love. Yeah? I think, I don't know whether this is true or not, but it is said that people fall in love mostly either under moonlight or under candlelight. Because they cannot see very well. Is it true? So they just, before you come to see, then you can project what you want to see. And then you fall in love. But then after next morning, then when you see clearly, then you start to fight. Maybe I shouldn't say this. But the friendship is also like that, no? The true friendship can happen only if you really know the weakness of the person and still accept that. Then it's friendship. Otherwise, you expect too much, and then the friendship cannot stand. So therefore, to be able to, see things clearly and able to understand that people have, people are samsaric. People have ego, lots of ego. There's nobody who doesn't have ego. People have pride, people have selfishness, people have jealousy, people have, all sorts of things. And people get angry, people, all these things, that's, I have, and I cannot expect others don't have. Yeah? So I need to accept this. People are like that. They are not, not Buddhas. They might have Buddha nature, but that's yet to come out. At the moment, it's not fully ripened. So it's like that. So therefore, I have to accept that, and I have to deal within that circumstances. So when I know and I understand and I have that much expectation, as I can, understand human beings, then, also I think then compassion comes. I think when you see the true situation, the true nature of the weaknesses, of the weakness side of the people, there are also lots of strength side of the people also. There's positive side of the people also, which we have to appreciate. But there are also weakness side of the people that we should also accept. And when we see that first, maybe then we will be disappointed. We will be, upset and sad, and even become like withdrawn, so bad, this whole world is so bad. But when we really accept that, then the true compassion comes, I think. True compassion comes only if you kind of get rid of unreasonable expectations. When you are free from these unreasonable expectations from people, then the real compassion comes. And then that compassion is not something it can be kind of easily, what can you say, easily disturbed. This I see very often. Sometimes people see that they say that I try to meditate on compassion. I try to become compassionate, and then I become very disappointed when I hear, the news. Or I cannot read newspapers anymore. I cannot listen to the radio news anymore. I cannot watch the TV anymore because it's so disturbing. That can happen. That happens because you thought everything would be so nice. That is because we don't have the right, realistic way of looking at the world, the people. So therefore, we expected everybody to be nice, everybody to be kind, and everybody to be very good. And then when we see it's not like that, we are shocked. But if you really understand the weakness side of the samsaric people, then nothing can shock you, because that's the way it is. It's like that. That's why, sometimes I felt, I had a collection of short stories, Tibetan folk tales, and somebody translated it into English and sent it to some, some children's book publishers to publish. And they look at them and they say, they are too, what did they say? They said they are too much too much real life in it. They are too much, like blood and death and things like that in it. So this can't be given to the children. The children will be traumatized. And they didn't want to publish it. Then I started to look at some of the children's stories. And of course there are other sides where you have this, what do you call it, games and things like that, which is just completely bloody. You only fighting. I don't really understand understanding the moral issues of the world, because sometimes showing people how to kill and killing each other, no problem. Showing a little bit of leg is a big thing, or something like that. Sex is a big thing that children should never see, but killing, no problem. I don't know, I don't understand. To me, sex, no problem. At the worst, what will happen? You will produce a child. That's not an easy thing to do, but maybe I shouldn't say. And I feel, this is what I feel. I feel that when I was very small, I think many people have this. I wanted to hear stories. So I used to run after anybody who would tell me stories. The more kind of, what can you say, fearsome the story was, the better I liked. I liked to hear ghost stories. I liked to hear, all kind of stories, life stories. And they used to tell me all kind of stories, where there is every different kind of things, the life. And I feel that I've learned a lot from these stories. I have learned life from these stories. I have learned, I think, more about the life of human beings from these stories. The way humans think, the way humans kind of, act to each other, the way, when you hear it, very kind of ancient folk tale, it's talking about people and the way they do things, the way they, think and act and react and things like that, how they cheat each other, how they, all sorts of things. So I think that's the way to educate children, I think, by telling them about life. Not by not telling them about life. Then they would know nothing. Then you will tell them that, oh, you have been brought by the stroke. And then, do you think they believe that? I wouldn't have believed. I knew exactly where I come from, because I saw my brothers and sisters, how they come from. And so, nobody told me I was brought by a stroke, or neither my brothers and sisters brought by strokes. But I also knew if they told me that, I would have never trusted them anymore, because it's completely lie. And I think it's like that. So, you know, I think it's important to really learn to see the life as it is, as early as possible, I think. Then you kind of become strong. You become, you know, a little bit wiser and able to deal with things because you know the situations. So therefore, I don't think, you know, everything that he says here is of course it is about the Dharma and you know, kind of trying to, you know, trying to understand, trying to see that the worldly matters, the worldly gains, the worldly what we call, you know, worldly dharmas, worldly is not really the source of something great or something true happiness. He's trying to tell us that also, because, you know, many people, I think, expect too much from the world, you know, the worldly things. Like, if I become popular, then, you know, I'll be very happy. Everybody will be so nice to me and everything. But popularity is very flimsy. Yeah? Today I'm popular, next day maybe I'm totally unpopular. If I'm rich, then I'll be very, but that is also very kind of stable. And all those things is not very stable and not really a source of true happiness. And when I understand this, then they have their own place. It's you know, I have to live in this world. I have to work and live with the people. I need to help myself, but I need to help these people also because we are together, we are same. It's not that they're bad and I'm good. It's nothing like that. We all are like that. We have problems. We have lots of weaknesses. We have, you know, lots of, you know, habitual tendencies which are not good. We have lots of emotions which also are very harmful to all of us. So that's why I need to help them. I need to help myself. And therefore, I need to find a way to kind of transform this situation. First in myself, then maybe help others also a little bit. So that's the understanding. Yeah. So therefore, of course, it's not, you cannot hide somewhere. Even if you hide somewhere, you need to be in contact with people, and you cannot hide yourself from yourself anyway, because I have the same problem. It's not that others have and I don't have these problems. I am myself problem. I cannot trust myself too much, because what I think now, you know, in 5 minutes, I think separately, and you know, to what I feel today, tomorrow I don't feel like that. So therefore, you know, my mind is also like that. So therefore, you know, we need to do something about that. So, how do we transform? How do we transform? Now this is the question. How do we transform this and make ourselves more trustworthy, more compassionate, more wise, more, you know, helping each other, kind to each other, and that I be freed from these vices. How can I do that? So that is supposed to be the Dharma practice, a spiritual practice, a practice, that would help you there. And so therefore I have to find that. Then he said, hide your body by staying alone in the mountain wilderness. Hide your speech by cutting off contact and saying very little. Hide your mind by being continuously aware of your own fault alone. This is what it means to be a hidden yogi. Now, when you have a little bit lessened your too much expectation from the society, from the people, from your friends as well as general public, then because you are all like that, so I have to improve myself. I have to work on myself. So one of the ways is working on myself. And when I work on myself, sometimes you call it retreat, solitude. Retreat is retreat by its word meaning. It says retreating, going away into a kind of place where you have no disturbance. So sometimes it's called solitude. And there can be three solitudes, they call it. One is solitude of the body, solitude of the speech, and solitude of the mind. Now first I need to learn how to be with myself. Then I will know how to be with others. So most of the time we have difficulties to live with myself alone. That's why we always need something to distract us. I sit alone. In 5 minutes I need to put on the radio, put on the TV, put on something, listen to something, do something, something to eat, something to drink, or go out, or talk to somebody, make a telephone call. I can't just be with myself happily. Sometimes being with yourself happily is very difficult. But we need to learn how to be happy with myself first. If I can't be happy with myself, how can anyone be happy with me? Yeah. So now to try this, then being solitude of the body is that you kind of find sometimes this is talking from the Tibetan point of view. Tibetan, it's all wild anyway. There are so few people. The land of Tibet is like almost like Western Europe, and the people there is like only 6 million, which is like Ireland, a little bit like Ireland, and so you can't see anybody for like miles and miles and miles. There's one family here, and then you have to go half a day to find another, tent or something like that. So, to the solitude of the body is that you have not much disturbance. There is like nature. Solitude of the speech is that you don't have too much to talk or listen to talk, so too much, concept in speech, and solitude of the mind is that you allow your mind to be relaxed, without too much tension, without too much anxiety, without too much kind of and then just look at your own mind. It's not only saying that only fault of your mind, only bad things about your mind. That's not, but if you have to look at the fault, then look at your mind's fault, not others people's, because it's the same. Disgust, because there's no one to be trusted. Sadness, because there's no meaning in anything. Determination, because there will never be time to get everything you want. If you always keep these three things in mind, some good will come of it. Now, there's this saying, there was a very nice kind of instruction somebody wrote. I think some English people, that you know that people will, break your trust, but still you have to trust. You know that, lots of things like that, even if you help people, they will not thank you, but still you have to help. Things like that. I think this is very important. It is not necessary that everybody is totally trustworthy, or that they do exactly, the right thing. But that's okay. So a little bit of, kind of remorse, you can call it, if you like. A little bit of sadness, you can call it, if you like, because the way things are is like that. But, that's how it is, so I must work from that point of view. I cannot work from a kind of idealized state, that it should be like this and then. But then I have to be determined. I have to, this determination is not really this determination. It's completely, I know that everything is kind of a little bit hopeless. That's it, determination. Here its translation is not totally right. So, with this understanding, you are like at the bottom. You are a little bit, you completely completely realistic, like this bottle totally empty. Yeah. Well, it's not that the Patrul Rinpoche says it's like that, it's like that, it's not like that. We try to see things clearly. We try to see things clearly. And then it's like that. If it is like that, whatever, there are, of course there are positive sides also. We have to appreciate that. But there are lots of negative sides that we have to accept. Now, we try to see it in this way. There is no time to be happy, happiness over just like that. You don't want to suffer, so irritate suffering with the Dharma. Whatever happiness or suffering comes, recognize it as the power of your past actions. And from now on, have no hopes or doubts regarding anyone at all. Now, I feel it's like this. Sometimes people feel that the things will change, and then everything will go well, and there will be a time, then everything will be so nice, so good, so happy, so wonderful, so perfect. I don't expect that to happen. I don't think so. If things don't go worse, it's very good. But that doesn't mean that I cannot be happy. I have to be happy with the situation now. I cannot wait for a situation so that I can be happy. No? If I kind of wait for the time, then things will be happy, and then it will be, then it will be very difficult. It will be like, there's a Tibetan story, but I think it's too difficult to translate. This, it's okay. It's just to kind of give it, kind of idea. There was the golden, the sheep with the golden sleeve, golden lace. And then there is a wolf. The wolf wants to eat the sheep with the golden lace. And he comes and says, I want to eat you. And then the sheep with the golden fleece says, okay, you can eat me. But first you have to wash your hands and face in the spring. Spring, that's totally made new. And then he says, okay, but how can I make a new, and fresh spring? Well, that you have to make with the horn of, this tzu, that's the antelope in Tibet, this, which the very shatush is horn because there's a long one. Then she goes to the shatush and then says, can I get your horn so that I can make spring, and then I wash my hands and feet, and then I can go and eat the golden's sheep. And the shatush said that, well, you can get my horn only like that, it goes on and on and on. And at the end, it never gets to that. So, it's like that. That kind of never comes. So therefore, now, even if things are not so great, even if there are some problems, even if there are, I have to make myself feel okay now. And if I can do that, then, that's how I end my suffering. Ending my suffering is learning how to react to my thoughts and emotions now. How I react to my experiences, thoughts, emotions, and experiences now. That's why I always say, and I think it's very important, I said Dharma practice or meditation is not about, like getting an experience which is totally beyond the world. Something totally kind of strange and you've never experienced before, something like, as if you have taken a drug or something like that. It's not like that. I think it's not the idea. You don't have, you don't become high with meditation. If you become high with meditation, something is wrong. Yeah? Because when you're high, you have to go round. There's no high without down. Yeah? And so that's not the point. That's not the purpose. So the purpose of Dhamma practice, purpose of meditation, is not to get an experience which is totally kind of unnatural or something different or something totally like a little bit intoxicated. It's not like that. Then what is it? Then what's the purpose of Dhamma practice? What's the purpose of meditation? The real purpose of Dhamma practice and meditation is not about what experience I have, but how to deal with any experience. This is very different, isn't it? How to deal with any experience, so that whatever experience, whatever thoughts, whatever emotions I have, I can be okay with that. If I learn how to do that, then I have meditation. Then I know how to meditate. Yeah? So therefore, if I know how to meditate, I'll be happy now, because whatever situation it is, doesn't matter. I know how to deal with it. Whatever kind of emotions are going on, it's okay, because I can deal with it. So therefore, it's the good things are there, bad things are there, something mixed up, something more bad, more good, doesn't matter, I can deal with it. So therefore, I've found the way to be happy. So that's how, through Dhamma practice and the suffering. So therefore, if you understand this, then some good will come out of it. There's no time, accepting a lot from people. You do a lot of smiling. Expecting a lot from people, you do a lot of smiling. Needing many things for yourself, you have many needs to meet. Making plans to do first this, then that, your mind's full of hopes and fears. From now on, come what way, don't be like that. He's trying to tell you how not to be so tense, how not to be so anxious. Yeah, because if you have too many expectations, too many fears, or aversions, or kind of too many fears of not getting something, then you can always be tense. So therefore, you have to let go of that. There's no other way. Like somebody was saying yesterday that if I don't do everything, if I don't get everything done, then I will not be successful. I will lose something. I will miss something. Of course, I will. I will miss lots of things. But at the end, did I really miss anything or not? Sometimes it's a little bit like that. It's a little bit. Sometimes, I used to, when I was in Sikkim, India, I never missed newspaper. I think it came from my colleagues. My colleagues we're all like very academic people. They want to know everything about everything in the world. So they read all the newspapers and magazines and things like that. And I somehow got that kind of habit and used to read all the newspapers, listen to all the, news and things like that. And if I didn't get news of the day, each day, I felt as if I was missing something. And then I started to travel. And then, you don't get this kind of, you don't get newspapers, you don't get radio, you don't get, And then sometimes, especially about India, here, nobody says anything about India, even if India is going upside down. Nobody cares. So when I go back, about 3 months, 4 months sometimes, and then I'm back and I kind of look around and then so I have missed 3 months, 4 months, and look around and actually I haven't missed anything. It's the same thing, same troubles, same problems. Of course, the things have changed a lot, but kind of really I have not missed anything. I was spending so much time on reading all these things and getting all this news, which is totally useless actually. There are many things like that, I think. There are many things like that in life. We think it's very important, but actually it's not so important. And of course you have to make the priorities. And then, if you know how to make the priorities in the right way, of course, whatever, even if you miss something, that's okay. You cannot, nobody can do everything. Nobody can achieve everything. Nobody can get everything that you want. Even if I get everything I want, still I would not be happy. I know some people who doesn't have anything and very happy, and some people who have everything and completely unhappy. So it's not really. So therefore, I think that understanding is very important. That I think we have to be. We have to have not too much of fear and not too much of expectations. Hope, I think yes, hope is okay. Hope is okay, but expectation too much is not useful. Even if you die today, why be sad is the way of samsara. Even if you live to be 100, why be glad? Youth will have long since gone. Whether you live or die right now, what does this life matter? Just practice Dharma for the next life. That's the point. So, this is also, I think, something important. The life is uncertain. Everything is uncertain. Everything is impermanent. That's a fact. We don't want to see it, maybe. We don't like that, it's like that, but it's like that. So, it's not impossible that I will die tonight. It is very possible that I will die tonight. So, if I have to die, I have to die. Worrying about it, fearing about it, will not make it, will not help, will not make it not die. So therefore, I need to be prepared to die tonight. If I have to die, then I will die. So that's it, I will die. When I am prepared for that, okay, if I have to die, if I die tonight, then it's okay, I will die tonight. And when I really accept that, then nothing small things can be too much worrying me. Because when I'm even prepared to die tonight, then what little changes cannot really shatter me. So therefore, I found a certain kind of stability in myself, because I've started not to fear. I've started not to fear. Because, I can't think about me dying tonight because it's so painful, it's so bad, it's so terrible, it can't be, it's not possible. How can it be possible? But if I'm really okay, then I'm not afraid. And so therefore, it gives me lots of stability. So whatever happens, I'll do whatever possible to make things better for myself. I do whatever possible to make things, better for my life, for other people, for my people, for my family. But, there is a limitation. And with that limitation, whatever happens, then there's nothing I can do about it. I need to accept, I need to let it be. So, when that understanding happens, then, there's no regret, there's no fear. And even if I live long, that's okay. It's okay. That's very good, but it is also not so, it's not like, oh, I'm going to live 100 years. Because, after 90, then, or 80 even, it's not necessarily the best, best state. You cannot walk, you cannot hear, you cannot see, then you kind of, you need help for almost anything. You cannot even remember, what is my name? So, sometimes people have this thing, I want to live long, but I don't want to get old. That's not possible. Either you have to live long or you don't get old. So therefore, things like that. So when we have this kind of realistic understanding of the life, then you learn how to deal with it a little bit better. So now we have to kind of try to transform this state of mind, which has all these weaknesses that we have been talking about. It's not talking about only other people, it's talking about myself also. We have all these negative emotions, we have all this negative kind of fears and too much attachment and all sorts of difficulties and problems and weaknesses and things like that. So how can we transform that? How can we, make our life much more meaningful, much more happier, much more freer, much more compassionate and kinder, much more less or non-affected by all the things that's going on around me and what the people are doing around me. So that's the, that's the challenge. So then the practice is, oh, our fount of compassion, my root teacher, Lord Chenezi, you are my only protector. The six-syllable mantra, essence of your speech, is the sublime Dharma. From now on, I hope, I have no hope but you. Now this, he says that all these practices, all the practice, all the, the essence, the technique, the, the understanding on how to, transform yourself is in one, can be integrated, can be found in one practice, the practice of Sharesik. The compassionate, the practice of compassion and wisdom. And that embodiment of compassion and wisdom is my root teacher, he says. And you are my only protector. And the six-syllable mantra is the mantra, the mantra that embodies this practice is the Om Mani Padme Hum, the six-syllable mantra. So, what he's trying to tell here is that this is the simplest practice, actually, in Vajrayana Buddhism, Om Mani Padme Hum, and the Sharesik, because there's no mantra which is shorter than that. That's why sometimes it is said that somebody said it. There is no difficulties to learn. There is no fear to forget. There is no efforts to learn. There is no fear to forget. There is no pride that I know, so this is my best practice. As somebody said, that the six-syllable mantra is my best practice because you can learn just like this because it's Om Mani Padme Hum. It's easy to learn. And you have not much fear to forget it because, it's just, And also you have, I've learned so much, I have no pride, so therefore it's the best practice. So it's a little bit like that. So therefore he's trying to put this, all the practice in that small practice of Sharesik, because what he's saying is that to really understand the essence of the Dharma, essence of the practice, you don't need to do something very big, very elaborate, very complicated, very kind of unable to comprehend something like that. You can go deep within a very simple thing. And everything you can get from that. Because, he said, whatever I know, I have left it as theory. It's no use to me now. If I have studied a lot, and I become a great kind of a scholar, and I know all the philosophies, I know all different kind of theories, I know all kind of different methods, and all kind of elaborations and things like that. Even if I have done that, if it just becomes a theory, if it just becomes a concept, if it just becomes an idea, it doesn't help. Because what we are talking about here is how to transform ourselves, how to really change our way of reacting, how to find true, kind of stability of mind, true, learning how to deal with any situation experientially. So therefore, it's not, if we know if we have lots of information, that alone doesn't make any difference. That's what we call koaru. I've learned a lot, but it just remains as a concept, just as an understanding. It doesn't help. So lots of knowing is not necessarily helpful. Whatever I've done, I've spent on this life, it's no use to me now. But I say that, sometimes we do lots of things. We are very, very busy, very, very busy, and really busy all day long and all night long, and all these things. And then when you look back after 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 30 years, and see what I have done. What have I done? Sometimes you find that, what did I do? Many years go like this, like this, like this. And did I really do something that's really essential or useful or really something that really made a difference, made a big difference to me or somebody else or other people? Did I? Then, sometimes you find that really you didn't do much. You were busy, but really didn't do anything that really made a difference to me or others. And that's not much use. So therefore, and all these thoughts, whatever I've thought was all just delusion, it's no use to me now. All these years, many years, all kind of thoughts came into my mind, all sorts of, but what really, what did it, benefit? What, all this thinking, all this worrying, all this, anxiety that I have been going through all these years, what do I have to show the benefit from that? So it is now is the time to change that and try to do something that in 10 years or something like that, when I look back, then I can say that I did something a little bit, something that made a difference to my life, that I've learned how to deal with my, my problems, deal with my experiences, with my emotions, with my, how to be what I am, how to carry myself, how to experience myself better, how to deal with my own, problems outside and inside. if that can happen, then I have done something. Then I have learned something. Then I have achieved something. So, I need to do something. And he says that the practice of Chandasik, the practice of six-syllable mantra, is that one. If you know how to do it properly. So, this is kind of now the end of the first chapter. To kind of laying the foundation for why we need to practice Dharma. So I think I stop here, and then if you have any questions or anything on this topic or something else, because I don't know what is it that that would be of any help or any use to you. So anything. Yes.
You said not to kind of have too much expectations of others, and where I always fall down is I can't deal with people lying. I expect others to tell the truth, and I know they don't sometimes for whatever reasons. It's easier to tell a lie, or they don't want to face the truth. But for me, I find it really, really, really difficult being with people when I know they're lying, especially like in a family situation where you can't kind of just change your friends or find people who don't lie so much. You're
so much.
With friends, when you know they're lying, you can kind of, you just don't be around them so much. You have a bit of more choice, but with family, it's, I'm stuck with these people who lie. And I find it really difficult to kind of find forgiveness or find patience or whatever I have to do to be with people who lie.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It's very difficult because, once they lie, then you never know when they're telling the truth. The problem of the lying is not just, that they've deceived you, but then they've made themselves unreliable. Never, you can never trust them because you never know when they're lying and when they're not lying. It's the same like the story of the boy who was calling a wolf. Yeah. So that's why it's very important not to lie. Yeah? But lots of people lie. And that's a fact. Yeah? And also sometimes they lie in order to cheat you. Yeah? Cheat you because they want to get something from you and lie. And sometimes they also lie in order to protect you. Yeah? A lie can be of many different kinds also. Sometimes they lie with good intention also. They don't want you to know something that you would be very unhappy about, you would be very hurt, so then they keep a secret. That's also possible. This also happens. But then, we always respect the people who don't lie. We always can trust more the people who don't lie. But then, we can't expect everybody not to lie because that's not the way, That's why, it's not, if everybody was as we wanted them to be, then it will be so nice, the world will be so beautiful and without problem, but unfortunately it's not like that. So therefore, if you have a family member or somebody who is a little bit like that, then, there's no other way but to accept it. Doesn't mean that you have to, what can you say, you have to trust all the lies. Of course you cannot, but, that's the way that is. So therefore, it's no use that you become totally, unhappy or totally, angry or totally, upset. It's no use, no? What's the use? If you are upset and then they'll stop lying, then it's okay. But, usually that doesn't necessarily help, no? Of course you can like, especially if they are like your children or something like that, then you can try to explain why lying is not good and useful and things like that, but most of the time it's not like that. So then, what to do? That's why, I think it is like this. That's why, if you can help somebody to change their behavior to be better, because that's the worst is for them. That's very good. You have to try. But then, if that is not possible, then you have to do something so that you yourself is not so badly affected. No, that's the second thing, isn't it? So now, if there is somebody who is lying, and then I know that he is lying or she is lying, and then I tell her that, please don't lie, or, it's good to, not lie, or try to tell them the story of the boy with the, wolf. That's why that story is told to the children, yeah? You know the story? Mm-hmm. You don't know the story? You know the story, but I'll tell you anyway. There was this boy who was asked to look after the sheep, in the mountains. And so he went to look after the sheep in the mountains, but he got very bored because there's nothing to do. Then one day he called, "Wolf, wolf, wolf!" The wolf is come, and then all the men in the world, in the village, came with their weapons and things like that, and there was no wolf. And then he laughed and laughed and laughed because he could make the wolf come up all the way. It was kind of exciting. Then, after a few days, again he got a little bored. And then he said the same thing. Wolf, wolf. And everybody came. There was no wolf. So they got angry with him and said, you can't tell lie, you should not tell lie. And then he did the third time also. And then only a few people came. And then, actually wolf came one day. And they were eating all the sheep, killing. And then he called the wolf, 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 and nobody came. Yeah. So, so it was like that. Yeah. So because he told lies, then nobody trusted him. So even if he told the truth, nobody, took it as truth. So that's the worst part of telling a lie, is that even if you tell the truth afterwards, then people will not trust you because you have told a lie once. Yeah. So that's like that. But what to do?
Actually, just reading one line, it says, "The six-syllable mantra, essence of your speech, is the sublime Dharma. And it seems to connect speech and Dharma. It's verse 22, third line. Essence of your speech is the sublime Dharma.
Yes, the Dharma is this. The essence of the Dharma is six-syllable mantra. That's how it says. Dharma is like speech. Dharma is teaching. So that's why speech. Yeah.
We usually say body, speech, and mind.
Yeah.
So if speech is Dharma, body is what?
Body is strategic, I think, here in this case. Well, it's not really says body, speech, and mind here. It's not body, speech, and mind in this case. It says the compassion, the Lord of compassion, Shrezik, is my root guru, and then the essence of the Dharma, which is the essence of the speech is the Dharma, six-syllable mantra. To that, I have nobody to rely on this, but that means like six-syllable mantra is supposed to kind of essentialize all the teachings. Yeah? That's why it's saying like that. Yes?
If a person does the six-syllable mantra on its own, like with nothing else, just that, say, for about 1 year, like, is that enough to progress this person, or like, is it literally true? Or do you also need to do more?
Now, first you have to understand six-syllable mantra and everything that's connected with it. Yeah. Then yes. Well, I don't know if only 1 year, but that depends on how you do it. I think what he really wants to say is that in Tibet there are lots of different kind of practices, very elaborate practices, very long practices, very difficult practices, very complicated practices, and things like that. So what he's saying is that all these things doesn't need to be too complicated and too elaborate and too thing. Even the worst, shortest practice, even the most kind of simplest practice, if you understand the basic, if you understand the essence, then that's enough. But what is important is the essence, the real meaning behind. To understand that is the important thing. Then, as the kind of the medium through which you practice, doesn't matter. It can be very simple, it can be very short, it can be very easy. But that, then you need to understand, and that is something that we will try to learn from here.
Rinpoche, you said that when you're going through difficult times, that not to actually wait until circumstances change, but actually try to have a mental attitude of being happy in the situation that you're in. Could you talk a little bit more about that?
I think that's very important because, now how I at this very moment, now is the time you have, no? Past is gone. It's not there. Future is yet to come. It's not there. Now is the only time you have that you can do something. Yeah? Now at this moment, suppose, I say, the economy is not good. Something is happening in Tibet. Something is happening here. Something is happening there. Something is happening with, any different kind of things. I worry about this. I have anxiety about that. I have this and I have that. Then I'm upset, I'm not happy, I'm stressed, I'm, kind of disturbed. Now, I think that, all these problems are there, I have so many things to do, but, when all these things finished, then I'll be happy. Now, when will that come? Because after this, another will come. After this problem, another will come. After this problem, maybe another will come. Usually there is no end. So therefore, I have to decide now that, I cannot wait for all my problems to end. And all my work to finish. When will I finish my work? When will I finish my work? Only that. Yeah? One can never finish work as long as you don't stop working. Isn't it? Nobody has finished work by doing. This is the saying. Nobody has finished his work by doing. Only people who finish the work is by leaving the work and stopping doing it. Then they finish. So therefore, Samye is the problem. So therefore, now if I understand this, then I need to do something now at this very moment. Yeah? Now what should I do? Now there is tension, there is, there is anxiety, there is worry, there is maybe, something upset and something not so nice. Now I have to say to myself that, okay, there's lots of problems, there's lots of things, but then doesn't matter. I'm going to relax in this moment. I'm not going to, because there's no use. Now it's already 9 o'clock, so I cannot do much anyway. Yeah. So what will happen tomorrow is tomorrow. What happened today is today. Now is the time to have a good sleep. Yeah? So if I completely, doesn't matter, whatever happens, happens. So I kind of relax. I go to sleep. As soon as I put my head on the pillow, that's quite happy, no? Well, this happens to me. So therefore, when you So you need to, what can you say, decide to let be. So once you let be, at least you are a little bit relaxed. You have to be relaxed. So therefore, you kind of, you allow yourself to enjoy, or you allow yourself to relax in this moment, not too much bothered about the worries, not bothered about the anxieties, not bothered about the whatever problems and things like that. That's one way of letting your mind be relaxed. Yeah. So if you are able to do that little bit, even little bit, you've learned how to be a little bit more experientially. Yeah. So if you can learn how to be, a little bit free, a little bit tension-free, a little bit worry-free, for even a few moments, that much confidence you get on how to do that. So that's how to learn. So it's not that you are immediately able to become totally peaceful and totally kind of well and totally nice and things like that. Of course not, but we need to train this way. Now, yes?
So how can meditation help in regard to what you have said?
Because meditation is that.
Okay.
Meditation is not about doing anything. Meditation is about not doing anything. Letting be completely. Letting be. Yeah?
Okay.
Relax. Having an off time. Giving your mind an off time. That's meditation. Being awake and being clear, but still really completely letting be. So therefore you allow your mind to relax. You allow your mind to rest. You allow your mind to be, not doing something, not working. Yeah?
Earlier on we speaking about this idea of as in the preliminaries that you're speaking about, in encapsulating the preliminaries that you're speaking about them, as I suffer, so do others. As I create negative actions, so do others. As I don't expect anything back when I give. That surely creates a way of having compassion, because as I suffer, so do the others. As I have some types of negative actions, so do others. So it gives me a little bit of space in the mind. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
As a way of generating.
I think so. That's good.
Or some way of not chasing after expectations or letting go of expectations. Would that be a good way of doing it?
Yeah, I mean, it's like this, I think we cannot be totally free from totally no expectation. I think that is not possible. Yeah, not because if you don't have any expectation, why we do anything? Yeah, we have expectations. We have aspirations. Maybe we don't want to call expectations, maybe, but we have aspirations. And so we do that. We try to, what we want to get done, we try to do that. But then, there is no guarantee that things will happen exactly as I wish it to happen. No? Nobody can guarantee that. So, I do my best to make it happen as best as possible. But then, whatever happens, I need to accept that. But that doesn't mean that now I did something, it doesn't happen, okay, now I've done, finished. I think it's not like that. I don't think it's like that, You can try again. Another way, maybe. We have to keep on improving the situation, make things better for us and for others. That's the life, no? The life is nothing more than a sequence of solving problems. Yeah? So as long as we live, we have to do that. It's not like now we have finished, now we have solved all problems, everything is okay, everything is finished. When will it happen? Nothing. Never happened. Yeah? So therefore, I don't have to expect that, now is the time when all problems solved and it's lived happily ever after. It only happens in stories. No? So therefore, okay, then I do again, and again, and again. Something different maybe, a little bit. But, without too much tension, without too much, like, if somebody did something wrong, I become totally, upset and angry and, totally like, mad. No use, no? No use, because it just only hurts me and it doesn't help. So that's the idea, So not expecting means that, like this person, is telling a lie. So, okay, it's not good, but he tells lies, so he tells a lie. So, but that doesn't mean that I have to become totally upset and totally, kind of devastated, because there's no use. And then this person does exactly the opposite of what I want him to do, That's not good, that's very bad, but what to do, it's done. So I can't become totally, upset, and I have my blood pressure up, and I have my, stroke. It's not useful. So, okay. So that's the idea. We need to try to take things lightly a little bit more. Of course, in order to do those things, then there are things, that we need to understand, and we need to see things. So these things is about the, teachings. Okay. Thank you.
For everyone, tomorrow morning is at 10 a.m.